Hey everyone, so recently I received a comment saying to make a melee combat system with the help of Unity visual scripting. So here it is. Now there is a thing that depending upon your game, this script and the logic will change. Also the way you want your combat to be handled, this controller, this animation controller, its logic will be changing, but there are some tricks and some functionalities that you should know that you can implement in your logic, your own logic. So my aim of this video will be just to showcase what you can do with the animator controller and some of the logic that I personally I learned myself. So this character is from Mixamo and all its animation are also from Mixamo. So if you want to use ready-made asset and you don't know how to do that, link will be in the description on a tutorial on how to do that. So yeah, let's get started. Now there are a lot of parameters in this animator because the system that I made covers a lot of topics such as weapon switching. You know what? I'll just show you all what we are going to make. Okay. So as you can see, my character, it can move. This movement is with the help of a blend tree. Let me show you. So as you can see, this is my idle animation right now, and my character is moving. So this motion, this state, it has a blend tree, and I'm using 2D freeform directional, and I have all this left, like this right, left, back, and front. So depending upon those, I'm calculating the axis, the unity get axis, so vertical and horizontal. Those values are controlling all this motion, and blend tree is blending between those animation. So this is for movement, it has nothing to do with the combat. But there is one thing that I would like to share. From idle animation we go to the walk animation. Okay, and then I can either go from this idle to idle combat. Now if you don't have the idle combat, I would suggest you to just use the idle animation again as a different state, because having an idle combat is really useful when you want to switch back like seamlessly, if you want to switch back to motion or your idle animation or any other animation in that case. So I can walk around, then I can start punching with my left mouse button. So I can hold back, and if I spam my, it will start doing combos like it is. So it is in ideal, now it is in combat, and as you can see, it is throwing left punch and right punch consecutively. And now if I press right mouse button, this animation state out of nowhere, like it starts playing, and then it has equipped that weapon. And after equipping it, when I press left mouse button again, it starts playing this melee animations. So as you can see, I can press the melee weapon and it is attacking. Okay, great. So after that, it goes back to the motion from combat idle. I think I may have changed some values over here, like yeah, that's why it got stuck, but we'll talk about these values later. So these are all the parameters that I will be showing you. So yeah, so now let's go ahead and watch the script. So on this character I have a character controller. Now this character controller, this is just to calculate the ground, because character controllers is grounded boolean check sucks really. So I'm just using physics overlap box for that. And then for character controller, let me make this window a little bit bigger. So I don't know where to start, but in the character controller, uh, whenever I start combat, you can see I cannot move my character, and that is because I have two boolean checks over here. So whenever my character is in combat, you can see this boolean, This boolean is comeback, and it is an animator boolean. So as you can see, the comeback mode, it turns on true, and wherever it is not true, my character can move. Also the weapon equip. So this boolean, it gets updated depending upon if I am equipping and unequipping my weapon. So as you can see, I can move, I suddenly start equipping, and my character stops moving. So this is optional. If you want your character to move while it can also equip your weapon, then go ahead and remove this from over here. These are not needed. So that's why I said that the script will depend, the logic will depend on what you need and what you don't. So let's go ahead and check the animation controller. So over here, let's look at the cooldown. Now let me unequip the weapon. Now the thing is, I wanted to go into the combat mode, and in the combat mode, if I click again, I want like I don't want my character to stuck in the combat mode, and I want it to get out of it. Like suppose I left punch, and then how do you want to go out of the punching to idle or motion? So there is a cooldown on the clicking. So left mouse button, click, and then what this timer doing is, whenever I click my left mouse button, it starts counting till 1 second, as you can see over here. And then whenever it is started, it makes the combat boolean true for the animator. And what that does is it changes me from either ideal or motion. As you can see, this transition, if my combat is true, I change to combat idle, and same goes over here. If my combat is true, I change to idle, from combat idle, from normal unarmed idle to motion. Okay, from both this state to the combat idle, as you can see, and then it sets itself to false. Okay, now that is done. Now the second thing is, I want to change my animation state from my idle to left punch, and I want to cycle between left punch and right punch. So to create that cycle, I created this counter. So this counter outputs 0 and 1 uh, depending upon the clicks. I don't know if you can see the value over here, but it says 1. Let me just show you. As you can see, it is toggling between 0 and 1. So let me just quit Discord real quick. Okay, so no one will bother us right now. So yeah, let me show you the counter. This counter is a variable, and if all I'm doing is, if this is greater than or equal to the maximum value that I set, I'll set this count variable to 0, or else if I'm not this maximum amount, then I'll just take the count and I'll add 1 to itself, and I'm setting it to count. Oh, so that's it. Now suppose if I plug 4 over here, as you can see, my count, it is going from 1 2 3 4 and then 0 again. Great. So let me make this one again. So 0 1 0 1 0 1. Nice. So whenever it is 0, I want to transition from my combat idle to left punch, and for that I have that my weapon should not be equipped, right? Because this is hand to hand combat, so my weapon should not be equipped, and my cooldown should be less than 0.2. So suppose if I click, this is just getting me into the idle combat state, and if I click again, my cooldown is less than 0.2. Now what is cooldown? So as you can see the timer over here, so whenever I click, this timer goes from 0 to 1 in the elapsed float value, this output goes from 0 to 1. And if I keep clicking it, it will like you can also see over here, it will stay in the range of kind of 0.2 and 0.3. So depending upon how fast you click, that timer will be updating. So this is the cooldown. So if that cooldown is reached, it will just not accept it. And then my left punch should be true. So whenever I click, my left punch gets true. Now how does it get true? Over here, as you can see, this animator set boolean. So whenever it is 0, my left punch will be true. Now after setting it true, and after playing that whole animation, I want it to be set to false. So how do you check if your animation is playing? So I have created another super unit for that. As you can see, let me just show you. So this super unit, it takes the state name, which is the left punch. Now, and then it takes the parameter name over here, the left punch, because I want to set this parameter to false, right? Um, and when it is false, it will go out from left punch to my comeback idle. So that's why we want that. Now my parameter is left punch, and this maximum time, now this time is the amount of time that I choose. So after zero point 0.6 seconds, after the animation starts playing, this parameter of this state, uh, like this parameter will be turned false if this animation, like this left punch done, like it is done playing or it is playing. Okay, so this parameter, let me just show you now. Okay, so get current animator state info. Now this, what this node does is, on the layer index 0, which is this motion layer, okay, you can add as many layer as you want. So this layers currently playing animation. Oh my god. Okay, so currently playing animation, which is this one. Now currently it is playing idle animation, but now if I click, it is playing the left punch. Now why do we need the state name? It is because this node, it will output anything that is playing. So right now uh, it will output any animation that is playing on this layer, current layer. So this is the data of currently playing animation. So if we want to have the data like currently for left punch, then we can do a boolean check over here. So if that, the if currently playing animator state, and its name is this one, so like if it is left punch, then it will turn true. Now what normalized time is, so as you can see, it is like it keeps on going, like it is increasing as the game is playing. So when this animation whenever this left punch it is triggered, it again starts from 0. So this is like the time uh, this animation state was last played, and after that, so whenever it is played, it starts from 0. Okay, so in this way I can check that what is the time, like how much time has been elapsed while that animation has started playing. I will check if it is greater than the time that I want, like 0 0.6 seconds, and if it is, then just this will just turn true. So this kind of becomes my boolean check for is animation playing. Now Unity could have given us that node directly, but it hadn't. Like they kind of gave us like as you can see, this node, this kind of checks if that animation is the one we want. And I just put that through the AND logic. And if this animation, if left punch is playing, and uh, this the maximum amount of time, which is zero point 0.6, which I set, if that is done, then I'll set my as you can see, this logic in the true section. Then I'll set my whatever parameter that I have, which is left punch. I'll set it to false, and output has both true and false. So just put in the state name which you want to check is playing, and if you have a parameter, then plug that over here. I mean, for this node you have to have a parameter. This will just turn off false, whatever parameter that over there is. So after doing that, I do the same thing with the right punch. Now from left punch I want to go to the right punch. Now the logic is my right punch should be true, like this boolean, like there is a boolean check, as you can see, right punch RP. Now the RP will turn false after it is done playing. Sorry, RP will be turned true whenever this count turns to 1. My RP will be turned true, and after that, when it is done playing, it will turn false. So there you go, and it just turns false in this update method. Okay, by the way, everything is an update method right now. So uh, after that I have the equipment. Also there is also one more thing, just so that we don't get stuck in the right punch. Imagine if I'm spamming the my left mouse button. Okay, so as you can see, it is switching from right punch to left punch instead of going again back to combat idle. Now I kept this because I wanted it to be like this. Also spamming it, it will just loop between this animations. So if you have another, just click on this switch on integer, add another field from over here, increase the count from over here, and then you can add another branch, like another animation over here, and then you can transition from that to over there and have its own parameters. So yeah, so I'm going from left punch to right punch. Now the checks that I have to do are that my right punch should be true, my left punch should be false, and my cooldown is less than 0.2. So this cooldown, it makes sure that I'm clicking right now, like the time elapsed from last time I clicked is still available. So yeah, this cooldown is just checking if I'm clicking right now. So that's how I created the punch. Also from the left punch I go back to the idle when my cooldown is greater than 0.2. Okay, so it just got greater than 0.2, and both of my punches are false. I go to the combat idle again if my right punch is false. Both of the punch animations are false and my cooldown is greater than 0.2. So after that, let's go back to the equipment. Now I need to equip my weapon. So as you can see, I have a boolean for the weapon. So whenever I equip it, my boolean becomes true. Whenever I unequip it, my boolean becomes false. Now this character, it had weapon over here in the mesh section. As you can see, this is the battle axe. So just make a object variable. As you can see, I have made an object variable which says axe, and it is a game object, and then this battle axe is the object of it. So I just took a reference to that game object, and now whenever I equip it, so whenever I press my right mouse button, so you can have any trigger you want, uh, I get my weapons boolean over here. I invert whatever that is, so this makes it kind of a toggle. So whenever I right click, it will turn true, false. Okay. Um, so right now it is true, false. Now I'll click it. This boolean will become true, and it will play the animation state. So this is also one of the cool thing, that you can play the animation states directly from over here, like from the script. So as you can see, I have two animations, which is equipping the weapon and then unequipping the weapon. and I'm playing those animations from the graph itself. Now, whenever this weapon logic, or whenever this weapon boolean, it is true, I have to pass the state name, right? So this is my state name. So if it is true, then obviously my state name is equip weapon. So I'm using this select node over here. So whenever this is true, it will pass in the equip weapon state name, and whenever my weapon is false, it will pass in this unequipped weapon state. So this is kind of a dynamic script for it. Instead of having two play animator nodes and passing it the name differently, this is kind of really uh, dynamic way of doing it. Okay, so that's it. Now what is happening over here? So as I said, we can get the animation state info and check if that animation is playing or not. So as you can see, I duplicated this same, but I made some changes over here because there is no parameter that I want to turn false, but I just want the is playing. So let me show you inside it. So this graph looks kind of janky, but wait, I'll just try to explain what do we have here. So everything is same. So I get the current state info of the animation is playing on the 0th layer. I get the normalized time, and if that normalized time is greater than the time that I specified, then it will turn true. Also, I don't want it to turn true to every animation. I only want it to turn true for the specific animation that I want. So this is for equipped weapons only. So with this and check, I get the this animation states playing. Okay, so whenever it is done playing that animation, wait, let me just check. Yeah, okay. So this true means that the animation is finished, like 0.6 seconds have passed. So that way I get nice timing so that I can activate and deactivate the weapon. So boom, nice. So I duplicated that same thing over here, and now now the weapon is in my hands, okay, like this, and I don't want it to be disabled unless it like reaches at least near his back. Okay, so I don't want it to equip like enable the weapon until my hand reaches to back. That's why I did all of this thing like is playing. I'm using true one, and over here after my unequip is done playing, I will then turn my weapon on again. Now is weapon switching. So this part is kind of optional for you all because I don't want my character to move while it is equipping and unequipping it the weapon. So that's why I made this boolean check. So either if unequip and equip, if any one of this is true, then I want this boolean to be set to true, else it will be false. And the same as you can see, I have made an weapon equip boolean check. So if I click on the animation over here in the character controller, as you can see, this boolean over here, this top one, it turns on true whenever I'm equipping it, and my character controller, it gets stopped. So that way I'm stopping the character. Now the melee, it works the same way. Okay, so there is also one thing that I should mention. After equipping it and unequipping it, this state, it does get played by the graph, but we still need to transition from this state to some state we want. So suppose I'm pressing a movement key and I'm equipping it or unequipping it, the weapon, then it will directly get to the motion. So as you can see, motion is true. Now, how are we checking if motion is true? I have a vector, uh, this vector which controls the movement. As you can see, it becomes non-null. So whenever this vector is not equals to the null, then this motion it gets set to true. But this is the part of the motion, that's why I didn't explain it. So whatever the z and axis, it gets set to front and uh, left motion. Now this are responsible for the movement animation, so let's not look into that much. So after that equipping, either I am in motion, then I'll switch to motion, and if I'm not, then I'll switch to idle. Same goes with the unequipped as well. So yeah. Now after that, let's look at the combat again. So let me equip my weapon. As you can see, if I click, the animations are playing. I can still rotate, by the way, while those animations are playing. So if the enemies are coming from different directions, you can hit them one by one, and then I can just move around. Now this is the same logic as the left punch and right punch. Um, so the first thing I want to show you is that as the logic is same, whenever I have my weapon in the combat idle, I want to switch to melee one. Now for that, I want my weapon to be true. Obviously, if it is not, then from combat idle, it will go to the hand to hand combat. Now over here, weapon true, cooldown is less than 0.2, and M1 is true. So melee 1, this boolean check, it is true. Over here I set it true, and when this animation is done playing, as you can see, this is the same super unit that I had over here for the left and right punch. It will check if 0.6 seconds has been passed for this animation state, and this will turn this parameter to false. And uh, after that I want to switch from this first attack to second melee attack if I click fast enough. And to do that, what I'm doing is I want my first melee one to be switched to false, like it has to be done playing completely. And then my melee 2, it should be true. Melee 2 turns true whenever my count goes to 1. And then my cooldown should be less than 0.4. Okay, now after that, it will go to the combat idle if my cooldown is greater than 0.2. These values, by the way, this cooldown values, you have to experiment with your animation. So yeah, that cooldown totally depends on you. So, and then both of my melee should be false. Now if I'm in melee 1, I will return to combat idle again if both my animations are false and my cooldown is greater than 0.2. Now I will cycle between these two, such that if my melee 2 is true, sorry, melee 1 is true for from melee 2, uh, melee 2 with the weapon is false, and then cooldown is less than zero point 0.4, and same again, same this two boolean checks, it will just keep on checking. So I think that's it, but there is still one more thing that I want to show you all, which is now suppose I'm fighting. Okay, so I'm fighting and suddenly I jump. So there you can totally ignore every animation and override everything if you play your state from the graph. So let me go to the character movement, and over here, whenever I jump, I made a custom event trigger. So this trigger, its name is jump, and it is triggering to the same game object that the script is sitting on. So whenever I jump, this jump trigger becomes activated, and that same trigger is called over here. So as you can see, the jump name is same. This is case sensitive, by the way. And then I play the animation of the state animation state named jump. So why is this important? Suppose if you are fighting and you have dodge mechanic in your game, and you want it to override everything and then just execute this first. So at that time, you can use something like this. And after jumping, if I'm moving, then I will switch to motion. And if I'm not moving, I'll switch to idle. And doesn't matter if I have weapon in my hand, it will still work. Just make sure your animations are good. I mean, these are nice animations, but they don't blend that nicely. Like they were not meant to be blended together, I guess. But if we are talking about animation, fighting game, they have like totally different theory for making animations for fighting game, because it all depends on the frame count, the speed of the animation, and all. Because I'm for this sake of for the sake of tutorial, everything is at twice the speed. As you can see, I have increased the speed wherever I can for the walking and all. So that's how I made my melee combat. If you're wondering what this is, then if my combat is false, then obviously I don't want any of this to stay true. This is completely optional, but I kept it just for a safety purpose. Like if this timer goes beyond that, if somehow they remain the true, this will make sure that they return false at the end. Okay. So that's it with the melee combat. Now, depending upon your logic, um, you might need something like this. Like you will definitely need this super unit. Now, I will try to give this super unit somehow. I think I can um, give you all the graph itself. I'll make a separate graph and I'll try to share this super unit somehow. Link will be in the description below, obviously. But if you want to make it, it's not really that difficult either. Main information in this video tutorial that I think is important is that this node get current animation state info, get normalized time, and the animation state info. These are few of the important nodes that you have. Now you can do the same thing with the C sharp and it will look much cleaner. Also, I will suggest you all, if you are making a game such as fighting, then I will personally say that you should go with the C sharp approach. The earlier you start learning, the more you'll get familiar with the language. Now, visual scripting is great, but for like light projects, um, now this thing, like I don't mind this huge networks of noodles, but this update, like this update would look much cleaner in C sharp, and it will be much easier to handle in C sharp. Also, the speed is the key, like for executing the animations, triggering events, and all. So yeah, fighting game is very sensitive with the calculation speed. So I think the faster your methods are, the better. So if you are actually planning to make some fighting games, I think it is better to do it in C sharp. Learn C sharp, it is not really that difficult. Or you can make your logic in the visual scripting and then convert this into C sharp. So but still it's your choice. Yes, but that's just my opinion. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something new. If you are new to this channel and if you wish to have a dedicated or custom tutorial as per your need, then comment in the section below what do you want. This video was made because of someone of like one of you commented in my previous video to make this. Now, so yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.